Buenas tardes a todos. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome Mr. Rader to the board. He was sworn in last week with much of his family in attendance, as well as President Nielsen and myself. And we're looking forward to starting the formal education of his little girl in full-day kindergarten next year. Welcome. I'd like to address some of the items on the dais today for the board. There's a bag with a blue logo here. It was part of Teacher Appreciation Week celebration last week, which also is when we recognized our Teachers of the Year who will be presented to the board this evening. Teachers play a critical role in academic, social, and civic development of our youth. And nationally, 8 out of 10 teachers don't feel their profession is valued by society. Still this year, 91% of teachers will use some of their own money to pay for school supplies, which averages about $250 per teacher per year. That's according to a national survey. Much of what teachers do impact the lives of children happens outside of the view of others. It's rarely recognized and often doesn't bear fruit for years, but we know how much they matter, and we want to pause on this occasion to say thank you. You also have the most recent Kids at Hope News Vision and the new 10-year anniversary lapel pin. Kids at Hope founder Rick Miller was honored for the 10-year anniversary of Kids at Hope at their annual Masters Institute last month, which is why the new lapel pin includes a 10. This year, Alexis Fuentes from Littleton Elementary sang "This Girl is on Fire," warmed up the whole room, even though it was already hot outside. I want to touch just a second on some of the examples that Mr. Miller gave of hope in a child's life. The hope is the difference between how we see the child and the way the child needs to be seen. In other words, he points out that most of society may look at a child to be at risk, but what the child needs is to be seen at hope. At birth, as a toddler, as a teen, all through school. Keynote presenter, Professor of Pediatrics, Dr. Kenneth Ginsburg, who said, "Human connection beats strategy every time when it comes to coping with adversity." As far as strategies go, he said people tend towards catastrophic thinking. He gave suggestions of ways to make problems manageable by more accurately framing them, using alternative routes to actively avoid legitimate threats, and by just letting some things go. Not everything that seems so bad now is of such great consequence in the future. National school leaders met in Phoenix at the beginning of the month to discuss public education trends and issues. We talked about the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act working its way through Congress. We were also treated to some of the latest facts on public schools in the United States from Dr. David Berliner. The number one issue facing students in the U.S. is childhood poverty, and the number one issue for public schools is privatization. 64% of teachers in the U.S. work in schools where a third or more of the students are economically challenged. That's far more than the average of 20% of the teachers for all of the other developed countries. Percentage of teachers in the schools in Norway, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland are in the low single digits. In Berliner's words, there is a battle being waged over the future of America's schools. While that's a bit disheartening, I'm happy to announce some good news. Littleton District was recently recognized by the Arizona School Business Officials Association with a Best Practice Award for the collaborative work we're doing with Union Elementary School District in the area of maintenance services. Their Best Practice Award is designed to identify efforts in districts, especially in school business management profession, and recognize the people acting proactively to better education in Arizona. The Littleton Education Foundation held its first fundraising event last week, and while the final totals are still being tallied, I can report the event was well attended, provided not only good networking opportunities, but fun for employees, partners, and board members. Foundation proceeds go to supporting teachers in their classroom activities, and I want to thank all the foundation members who contributed so much time and effort to making the event happen, as well as the generous sponsors who supported Kingpins for Kids. And we want to especially thank Ms. Reyes and Ms. Sausnick and her husband for taking the time to attend and support the event. Things are moving along with our new school construction planning. We just completed our bond rating conference and received compliments on the district's management, which will help our rating. And we have updates coming in upcoming board meetings. I'll also want to remind everybody that Littleton's annual staff recognition event will be held Wednesday, June 3rd after students are dismissed at the Tres Rios Cafenasium from 2 to 4. Finally, the baseball and softball seasons are off to a great start. Our teams and fans have shown great energy, enthusiasm, and sportsmanship throughout the games so far. Estrella Vista Hawks and Quinton Sharks have started out with a 4-1 record in both baseball and softball. We want to thank La Jolla Community High School for providing great fields for our youth. We're looking forward to a great rest of the season and playoffs that start in a couple weeks. In closing, I want to express our appreciation to Catherine Belmonte for donation of microwave to Country Place for their staff lounge, Manuel Belmonte for BMS Tire Repair for the donation of baseball hats to Country Place's baseball team, Margaret Schulke and family for the donation of funds to Collier Student Scholarships, the PTAs at Country Place, Quinton, and Tres Rios for their donations of funds for field trips, and finally, Barry Chase of the Chase Building Team and Greg Jansen of AC School Furnishings for their donations for the employee recognition. That's all I have.